Yeah, what about you? There you are, Murky Sosa, the legend. One love. So how you been, man? You good? Hey, this is my friend, Ferris.
Man, this is an important interview for me because when I came, was a boxing fan in 1998, I remember you as ICEMAN Scully, but you was always so down to earth, spoke to all the fans, everything. To me, you're the ultimate, like, boxing guy, like it's in your veins type stuff.
Yes, sir.
Tell me what you've been up to first off. How you doing? What brings you to Vegas?
I'm actually taking part of they have this study going on out here with, I think, maybe 100 fighters, former fighters and current fighters, and they're studying our brains to kind of see how boxing has affected us. And so it's going to go on for 10 years. This is my second year. I took the testing actually 2 days ago, and everything, they said I was, happily, they said I was unusual. Like for a guy who's fought in so many fights, I'm good. So they'll monitor me for the next 8 years now. And do that. So whenever I come to Vegas, I always make it a point to go see the gyms and see Murky, and you know, Kelsey Banks is coming over to meet me. You know, so I like to experience all the boxing.
Take me back to your history with boxing. You've done a lot. How did this sport first come into your life?
You know, I was a kid and I remember the moment. The Thriller in Manila was coming up, so it was 1975, so I was 8 years old. In the newspaper, they had a iron-on decal of Ali and Frazier. And I remember it had a butterfly and a bee, and my brother and I were arguing over who was going to get it to put it on their T-shirt, you know what I mean? And I didn't even know what was going on, but I knew that Ali was huge. So I started reading about Ali, and my father had the books, and Muhammad Ali's autobiography was actually the first book I ever read.
Oh, yeah?
And it just started from there.
Gotcha. What have been, you've had a lot of great memories, amateur and pro, like Roy Jones, for example. You know a lot about Roy. Just tell me your connection to him.
Roy Jones, to me, pound for pound, best fighter, in my opinion. I mean, he on his best day. On his best day, Roy Jones could do anything with anybody, anytime he wanted to. You know what I mean? And that's a fact. And people can say Roy was not technically sound, and I don't necessarily agree with that. He was very technically sound, but he had the ability to not have to use that. He didn't have to be, you know, textbook. He could do his thing without it. And but if you watch his early fights and some of his later fights, when he needed to be technically proficient, he was very much was. But you know, I've sparred with almost 1,000 people. I've kept track. I might have sparred over 1,000 because there was a couple of years when I was a kid I didn't write everything down. I sparred greats. I sparred Mike McCallum in this ring right here in 1989.
Johnny Topos.
I've sparred James Toney, who's another great fighter. But I mean, overall, Roy Jones.
What is it like sparring with him?
I tell you, this is the line I use anytime anybody asks me. I said, when you spar Roy Jones, you go to bed early the night before. Now, with some guys, you don't have to go to bed early. You know, it's just work. Roy Jones, he's on his game all the time. He's always in shape, always has a six-pack, always close to weight. You don't take him for granted at all.
Gotcha. Now, as a professional fighter, what was some of like your best memories? What was that life like, living that life?
You know, the fighting is great. You know, and fighting Michael Nunn, which was surreal to me. I mean, I was a fan of Michael Nunn. When they asked me to fight Michael Nunn, I said yes. I didn't even ask how much I was getting paid. I said yes in 2 seconds because it was Michael Nunn. I said, man, I don't care what title it's for. I don't care where it is. You know, what TV station. It's Michael Nunn. You're fighting Michael Nunn. That's why you're in it. Sparring Roy Jones. When they asked me to come spar Roy Jones the first time, when they paid me that week after the first week, I didn't know what it was. I said, what's this for? They said, well, that's your paycheck for sparring Roy. I said, oh yeah, okay. You know, it didn't even occur to me to get paid. I would have done it for free. You know, you know, most guys aren't doing it for free. I'd have sparred anybody for free. Paying it was a bonus. So, but you know, like I come out of the friends I've met in my life. I've been boxing 38 years. Kelsey Banks, 1980 Olympic. He's on his way here to meet me. You know, so that's one thing about Vegas. All these guys are out here. You get to see your old friends. And that's what I probably cherish the most is the people I've met.
You're here at Johnny Taco's First Friday. How important is it if you know you're a boxing fan to pay attention to stuff like this, or your gyms, your local amateur fighters?
No, this is an awesome thing that they do. And I'll tell you why. Because even though it's sparring, it's not. You have a crowd. You know, you're trying to show out. You know, it has a fight atmosphere, and that's what prepares guys for fights. You know, this is like having a fight, and it's unbelievable experience for these guys. You know, so I had to come and support it. And you know, I've always heard about it. I've never been to one of these here, but I've always read about it. So I had to make sure that I came and saw it.
Got you. You now, as a trainer though, you staying really busy, working with IBF light heavyweight champion still?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me just what's like being a trainer now these days.
You know, I'd say a funny thing. Derek James, who trains Errol Spence, he recently did an interview in Ring Magazine where he said, I'm like a fighter who trains fighters. I'm not a trainer. I'm a fighter.
Yeah.
And I actually screenshotted it and I texted it to him and I said, man, I've been saying that for years. Like I'm not a trainer. I'm a fighter training fighters, and I'm using my experience as a fighter.
Yeah.
And that's something. You know, there's been a lot of great fighters great trainers that weren't fighters. Angelo Dundee, Lou Duva, whoever. Yeah. But there's a realm that you can only get from being a fighter. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I use that. So I'm able to like today I sparred with Nico Ali, Muhammad Ali's grandson. And the best part is after we sparred, we talked for about 40 minutes in the dressing room. And I'm telling him, you know, as a fighter to a fighter, not a trainer to a fighter, but as a fighter to a fighter, I'm telling him, you know, when you did this and you got, you know, you felt this, right? You felt that, and you know, that apprehension. You got to relax. And he knew exactly what I meant, and you know, and I knew where he was coming from. So my in-the-ring experience helps me help fighters.
Great stuff. Also now, boxing today, what do you think of the sport today? There's always stuff going on. What's going to keep the sport alive, you know?
You know what? Like the internet is good and bad, but right now with the it backfired. Like Broner and these guys, you know, they talk crazy and everything. And so on that hand, it's a negative light, but it's still a light. Like people are talking about Adrian Broner, which they never would do back in the day because they wouldn't see these videos of him and Twitter and everything. So it's a positive thing. For better or worse, it's bringing a light on the sport. People know, and you know, a lot of people know Adrian Broner more for the crazy stuff he does than they do for his actual boxing. So when he fights, they go, oh man, I want to watch that guy, and they've never even seen him fight before. So in that regard, I guess it's a good thing.
Fighters today, who stands out to you? Who do you like?
Triple G, obviously. You know, not because I'm helping him, but Artur Beterbiev is a monster. The light heavyweight division, all three of those guys, man.
Yeah, cool.
I mean, like if you get a title fight and you bypass them, right? Yeah. It's like, man, where are you gonna go? There's 4 champions, and all 4 of them are some of the most deadly people on the planet. You know, Adonis, Kovalev, Bivol, Artur. Yeah. What, you're going to fight one of them? Like, you're going to bypass one of them to fight the other killer? I mean, whichever direction you go, you're going to be in deep. So that's a great thing. And it's unique because we have 3 Russian light heavyweight champions at the same time, which I don't think has ever been in effect, you know. You got Bivol, Kovalev, and Artur.
Cool. Great stuff. Also, Lomachenko-Linaries. I got to get your prediction.
I can't see Lomachenko losing to anyone. You know, this guy's, you know, a lot of people... I'll tell you one thing, like people say, oh, he's only had, whatever he's had, 12 fights, 13. How can he be pound for pound the best? This guy doesn't need to have 40 fights to see what he's doing. This guy's a good fighter, he can control himself. If you didn't know him, if you watched a Lomachenko fight and said, what do you think of that guy? If you didn't know who he was, you didn't know how many fights he had, you'd go, man, that guy's a phenomenon. He's unbelievable. He's pound for pound. Yeah. Well, him having 12 fights doesn't negate that. I mean, he's that good. He's had 12 fights, and look at him. He's making these guys. I mean, who makes people quit? You know, people didn't quit against Tyson. Yeah. You know, they didn't quit against Sugar Ray Leonard. They didn't quit against Tommy Hearn. They're quitting against this guy. That means something.
Great. How can people keep up with you and follow you, man? Get in touch.
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, and I'm on Facebook. I guess the way it works on Facebook, I've reached the limit 5,000. But you can follow me. I guess it's the same thing as being my friend. Yeah. It's JohnTheIcemanScully.com or Iceman John Scully. Either one of those. And Twitter and Instagram are Ice John Scully. And I'm always talking boxing, putting up boxing pictures.
Keep being yourself. Thanks for everything you've done for the sport, man.
Awesome. Thank you, my man. Appreciate it.